Corey, I'm so happy the fact that we're moving on from talking about terrible, awful ASU football and instead talking about something more positive, more fun on the show that actually isn't sports related. So the summer movie season is actually starting to wrap up here pretty shortly, coming to the end of July and into August. And I thought it would be fun if we both ranked our top 3 summer movies that we have seen so far, and maybe we can help the people out there decide if they haven't seen one of these movies to go see them. So, how should we do this? Should we do it? Each of us give our top 3 first, or should we each go 3 and then 3? What should we do here? We're just producing on the fly.
Why don't we go 3, 3, 2, 2, 1, 1.
Perfect. Okay. Ladies first.
Okay, so this is the one that I flipped my notebook over so they couldn't see, because I knew they would have very big opinions about this one, but I needed my time to explain it. As our director and producer, Fern, is sitting there staring at me because he is one of the biggest movie critics I have ever known, other than Richie. And my number 3 would have to be Transformers, and before you guys attack me on it, you had to have been there when Scotty and I walked out of my house and they were filming it out in front of my house. That was one of the coolest things that I've ever gotten to see, was them doing the helicopter maneuvers, blowing stuff up. The junkyard that they were hiding out in happens to be right across the way from my house, and it's just next to Deer Valley Airport. And they were shooting it right there, and it was very cool to see all that stuff going on and being able to not only see them shoot it, but every time I drive past where that junkyard is, it says that they are like home of the Transformers because that's where they shot it. So I am a lover of the Transformer movies just because I just love them, and I'm one of those like cult followers. But the fact that they shot it in front of my house and over on the 303 was amazing to me, to be able to see all that and to see all the landmarks in the background. It made me feel warm and fuzzy. So before you guys attack me on it, that was my explanation. I wanted to say that's why it's special to me.
First of all, that is terrible reasoning, Corey, because that has nothing to do with the actual movie, which is what we're ranking. We're ranking the movie. We're not ranking our personal stories and how to relate to the movies. If I was doing that for mine, then I'd probably have a lot different movies on my list.
I also am one of those people that thinks that it was actually a good movie. It may not have been as good as the originals, but I still think it's a good following of the movie, and I really enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
I can't comment on the movie itself because I haven't seen it. I have no interest in seeing it. I'm not a big fan of the Transformers movies. I've seen the first 4, and most of them are pretty bad, really. There was a couple. The first one was good. Fourth one was
Let's make a point that we have very different interests in movies many
yes,
times.
I'd agree.
I love action movies. If I feel like, pardon my language, if I feel like a badass when I leave the movie theater, then I'm happy.
Okay, I can agree with that. So speaking of action movies, my number 3 is an action movie, and this was by far one of my favorite movies I've seen in a long time, because it was just so much fun to watch. It was different. It was just fun from start to finish, and I can't wait to see it again. My number 3 is going to be Baby Driver, which is Edgar Wright's kind of piece that he's been wanting to do for a long time. The music was really cool and different and awesome. The action sequences were cool. The performances were a lot of fun. John Hamm plays the villain in it. He was awesome. Jamie Foxx is in the movie as well. He was a lot of fun playing a villain. Kevin Spacey is in the damn movie. The cast is amazing. It's a little bit of a different movie than you're going to see, but that's why it was number 3, is because it's just so much damn fun to watch. Baby Driver, number 3.
Yes, I went and watched that one on my birthday. I quite enjoyed it myself. It was a very good 2 hours used. It was a little bit longer than I wanted it to be, but it was a good movie. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, so go see it if you haven't already seen it. And your number 2?
My number 2 would be the movie, and that's what I had such a hard time between my number 2 and my number 1, because I'm one of those people. The only reason why I bumped it to number 2 was because of the fact of who died at the end. I'm not going to say who exactly because I don't want to ruin it, but that it killed my soul. And I can't. I literally started crying in the movie theater. So that's the only reason why I got bumped to number 2, but it's amazing. I just absolutely loved Wonder Woman. It was amazing. It was such a good movie. Like you could see how excited I am talking about it. And it's so great to have such a strong female character.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone knows that I'm very big feminist with a lot of things, and I just loved that. And we were at Comic-Con, and the little girls that were dressed up as
Mm-hmm.
Wonder Woman were so adorable. It is a movie that turns the tide and is a movie for the ages, and I loved it.
I agree. That was one of my favorite things at Comic-Con is seeing, and there's a couple of pictures that came out too, of some of the girls who were dressed up as Wonder Woman who got to meet Gal Gadot, and like the look in their eyes and the love they have for her and that character is amazing. And I'm glad that a movie like that finally got made. It's been a long time coming. I'm so glad that little girls, get that female character that they can love, for the rest of their life, and they can pass along to their kids. So Wonder Woman may or may not pop up on my list in the last 2. So I'd agree with it. That's one of my favorite movies of the year. But my number 2 is a movie that I know Corey's going to disagree with. But I had War for the Planet of the Apes at number 2 on my list. And the reason why is because despite the fact that basically your main characters are apes, the movie, and they don't really talk all that much, you care about them, man, because of the performances, because there is some sort of a relation that you can have to what they're going through and the ape characters are going through. And when you're rooting against the human characters in a movie, that's usually a pretty good reason to like a movie, because you're rooting against humans and for the apes. And Andy Serkis, who plays Caesar, the main ape in the movie, is amazing. The whole movie looks amazing. It was just it was kind of an emotional roller coaster of a movie for me. It was a different movie than we've seen in the past. But then by the time you get to the end, and I had some tears in my eyes at the end of Apes. It's sad, I know, but it was just such a well done movie. It's one of the best trilogies of movies, I think, in the last 15 years or so. Every single movie in that series is very solid. It's well done. Andy Serkis is amazing. So War for the Planet of the Apes is my number 2.
As giant talking robots are not your thing.
Exactly.
Giant talking apes are not my thing.
They're not giant apes. They're just regular apes.
Okay, I just go back to King Kong every time I think about it. So that's that. I can't make that connection, and it just does not appeal to me. So I mean, if talking apes appeal to you, go right for it. I mean, I get enough from Groot and Flash, so I'm pretty good, I think.
Okay, so we'll have a little bit of disagreement on that one too.
But my number 1 would have to be I have a picture of all of them in my room. I have a picture of a certain character, as cute as he is, hanging up in my room, about to hit a button, and I have a little pop of him. It would have to be the second Guardians of the Galaxy. I love Baby Groot more than a lot of things in this world. Baby Groot is one of the cutest and most adorable things on the face of the planet, and those movies are just really good to watch. In general, they make you happy. You really enjoy all of the music. My dad is a big classic rock person, and growing up racing motocross and listening to classic rock at the track, it just was one of my favorite things of the movie. Was a soundtrack like yours was with Baby Driver. I just love those movies, and that would definitely have to be my number 1, because it makes you feel warm and fuzzy on the inside, and you just want Baby Groot to be with you everywhere.
I agree. Baby Groot stole that movie for me. I couldn't watch a whole movie, just Baby Groot the movie. By the end of the movie, he ends up being like teenage Groot, basically. But I didn't put it on my list simply because it wasn't as good as the first one, I thought. I thought the first Guardians of the Galaxy was just more fun to watch for me than the second one. The second one is by far the funnier movie, obviously. And I still had a lot of fun watching Guardians of the Galaxy 2, but didn't quite make my top 3. In fact, it didn't really even make my top 5. I had a top 5 that I narrowed down to 3. To what is indeed my number 1 movie of the summer, which is something we already talked about, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it. But it is indeed Wonder Woman. This Wonder Woman to me is I'd probably slot it just outside of my top 5 superhero movies of all time. That's how good I thought it was. I thought that the first part of the movie where they spin on Themyscira and just watching, Robin Wright be a total freaking badass and be a kind of a mother-like character to Diana was amazing. Those were some of my favorite scenes in the movie, and I hope she comes back because I really like Themyscira. I thought that was a lot of fun. But Wonder Woman to me is kind of the complete superhero movie for me. You care about the characters, you care about the end, and I agree with you, Corey. The end even got to me at the end, and again, no spoilers on this show, but the end was I had a little bit of tear in my eye at the end as well. But Wonder Woman, my number 1 summer movie. So go see it if you haven't already. I'm sure you have because it's made a gazillion freaking dollars already.